Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm excited to kick off this presentation with a focus on looking back at the past decade from 2011 to 2021 and exploring what's ahead in the next era of workplace equality research. The title of our session is A Decade of Progress and the Road Ahead, with a special emphasis on the psychology of diversity. Over the next few minutes, we'll review key milestones, reflect on ongoing challenges, and discuss the future directions that will shape how we understand and promote diversity and inclusion in the workplace. Let's get started. Let's take a closer look at the key themes in identity development, including how negative stereotypes can influence individuals and team dynamics. It's important to understand that diverse teams are shaped not only by individual identities, but also by the organizational environment they operate within. Much scholarly attention has focused on how stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination impact minority and minoritized groups. These issues are central because they affect not only individual well-being, but also team cohesion and performance. In recent years, global events and social movements have highlighted the urgent need for more robust and rigorous diversity research across various sectors. This underscores how critical it is to understand these dynamics in today's interconnected world. Looking back over the past decade, from 2011 to 2021, we've seen significant changes in the landscape of diversity research. This period has been marked by increasing awareness and deeper exploration into how these factors influence organizational culture, leadership, and overall effectiveness. So, as we move through this presentation, keep in mind that understanding these themes is essential for fostering more inclusive, equitable, and dynamic organizational environments. Now, let's explore the broader context that influences diversity, equity, and inclusion outcomes. First, we have the organizational environment, which includes the dynamics, challenges, and opportunities that arise when working in heterogeneous, cross-functional groups. These groups can be rich in ideas, but they also require us to navigate differences effectively. Next, we look at working in diverse teams. Here, it's important to understand the cognitive and behavioral underpinnings of bias, how biases form, and how they show up within organizations. Recognizing these patterns helps us address them proactively. Then, we consider stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination. These are deeply rooted issues that influence how individuals navigate, negotiate, and manage their identities at work. Understanding these concepts is key to creating more inclusive environments. Finally, we delve into identity development and management. How people develop their sense of self and how they manage their identities in workplace contexts can significantly impact their experiences and interactions. All these themes tie back to the core of the psychology of diversity, which encompasses key research areas that inform how we understand and improve diversity, equity, and inclusion in organizations. Together, these elements shape the outcomes we strive for in fostering truly inclusive workplaces. Diversity is really more than just a demographic fact. It's a complex, lived experience that's shaped by various factors like identity, power, and the culture within an organization. When we talk about diversity, we're really discussing how these elements interact and influence one another. Over the past decade, research has shed light on both the tremendous potential that diversity brings and the barriers that still exist. It's important to understand these dynamics because they're at the heart of building truly inclusive workplaces. Recognizing the depth and complexity of diversity helps us appreciate why it's not a simple checkbox, but a continuous journey of understanding and growth. This understanding is crucial as we work towards creating environments where everyone can thrive and contribute their best. So, one of the key issues we face is that a significant portion of the existing research and contributions in this field remain quite theory-oriented. While these ideas are important, they often lack the practical, field-tested applications that organizations can actually implement. This creates a gap between what we know theoretically and what we can do in real-world settings. This leads us to the research practice gap, which is a major challenge. DEI initiatives, for example, can sometimes backfire or produce unintended negative consequences. Instead of fostering inclusion and equity, they might inadvertently undermine those very goals. And this is often driven by resistance from dominant groups. These groups might perceive efforts toward equity as threats to their social identity or status, leading to resistance or backlash. Such reactions can create a cycle where efforts to promote equity are met with opposition, making progress even harder. This phenomenon is sometimes called the equity paradox. Despite a growing body of research and awareness, real, meaningful progress remains elusive. DEI efforts face increasing backlash, and unfortunately, the gap between what is theorized and what is practiced in organizations continues to widen. So why does progress tend to stall? Well, the persistent challenge of workplace inequality and even workplace inequity is complex. It's not enough to just understand the issues theoretically. We need actionable strategies that can overcome resistance and produce tangible results. Let's take a closer look at what's happening with corporate commitment to diversity. Unfortunately, it's actually measurably declining, which is a serious concern because it threatens the hard-won progress we've worked so hard to achieve. When we talk about declining commitment, we're seeing that women, especially women of color, remain significantly underrepresented across the board. Not only that, but they face increasing structural barriers at every stage of their careers, making it even harder to advance. Now, a decade ago, we might have hoped things would improve steadily, but the reality is quite different. The 10th anniversary report by McKinsey and Lean Org paints a sobering picture. While there have been some gains, many women report that their experiences are the same or even worse than they were 10 years ago. This stagnation, particularly for women of color, highlights how much work still needs to be done. It's a stark reminder that, despite efforts, progress isn't guaranteed, and commitment at the organizational level must be renewed and strengthened to truly move forward. Gains in diversity and inclusion are not guaranteed to endure. What this means is that even if we make progress, those advancements are fragile and can easily be lost if we don't maintain a strong, ongoing commitment. Without sustained structural efforts, things like policies, culture shifts, and continuous leadership support, the progress we've made over a decade can quickly erode in the next. So it's crucial to understand that diversity and inclusion are not one-time achievements. They require persistent work to truly become part of the fabric of an organization. This idea ties back to our overall theme of ongoing commitment, because lasting change only happens when we keep investing in it over the long term. Let's explore how connecting psychology with HRD, HRM, and organization studies can give us a more holistic and actionable view. By integrating these disciplines, we can develop a deeper understanding of what truly drives equity and inclusion in organizations. It's about seeing the bigger picture and applying insights across different fields. Next, it's crucial to carefully balance the needs of all groups involved. Building broad-based support for equity and inclusion initiatives requires us to be mindful of diverse perspectives and interests. When we do this thoughtfully, we create more sustainable and effective change. Focusing on genuine inclusion means leveraging psychological research to better navigate the complex challenges of diversity, equity, and inclusion. This scientific foundation helps us sustain evidence-based efforts that are meaningful and impactful, rather than superficial or one-off actions. Deploying science-backed strategies allows us to move beyond individual-level solutions and address systemic inequalities. We need to understand how organizational structures and cultures can perpetuate disparities and use proven strategies to change those underlying systems. Finally, bridging individual and systemic approaches is essential as we chart the course for the next decade. Combining personal development with organizational transformation sets a strong foundation for lasting progress in creating truly inclusive workplaces. Organizations need to recognize that effectively advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion requires genuine effort. It's not enough to just implement superficial initiatives. We must undertake thoughtful and sustained work to truly minimize potential harm that can come from poorly designed DEI efforts. This means continuously examining and refining our approaches to ensure they are meaningful and impactful. Moving on, a critical step is demanding organizational integrity. This involves testing real-world interventions, things like promoting allyship, creating psychological safety, encouraging authenticity, and empowering employees. These are the kinds of practical strategies that can foster a more inclusive environment when properly validated and integrated into our workplace culture. Next, we should focus on strengthening practical significance. That means developing overarching theories that can unify the often fragmented research on diversity. By creating coherent, testable models, we can better understand what works and what doesn't, and apply that knowledge more consistently across different contexts. And ultimately, this all ties into the broader theme of the future of diversity research. It's a call to action, urging us to be intentional, rigorous, and innovative in how we approach these issues. Only through this kind of thoughtful, evidence-based work can we truly move the needle toward more inclusive and equitable workplaces. All right, as we look to the road ahead, our vision is to create a truly equitable, inclusive, and psychologically safe workplace. A place where every individual, no matter their background, can not only succeed, but also feel a sense of belonging and contribute meaningfully. This is our ultimate goal. Despite facing increasing political, cultural, and legal challenges, it's crucial that we stay committed to our equity, diversity, and inclusion strategies. We must remain steadfast and resilient in our efforts. To ensure our approaches are effective, we need to test our DEI models in real workplace settings. This way, we can confirm that our findings are practical and applicable beyond just theoretical or laboratory environments. It's also important that we address DEI across multiple levels: macro, which includes policies; meso, which relates to organizational practices; and micro, focusing on individual experiences. Tackling all these dimensions together will give us a more comprehensive and impactful approach. Looking ahead to the next decade, our focus is on making meaningful progress. This is about moving beyond awareness to real, measurable change that benefits everyone. By staying committed and embracing a multi-level perspective, we can create workplaces where everyone can truly thrive.